Tēnā koutou, tēnā koe, tēnā koutou. The Bone People by Keri Hulme is a great book, a winner of the 1985 Booker Prize because of its greatness, and the book I read because of my travels to the place of its setting. That is the southern island of New Zealand, where I am now. This book is the exploration principally of three characters. We have Keri, Joe and Simon. These three characters go on a journey of exploration between themselves, of bond. And not only that, within themselves, we are introduced to each of their trauma in turn, which is detailed as making their bond more profound. Now we have Joe and we have Simon, whose traumas are quite clear, quite explicit, not too incomprehensible to understand. They've lost people and they've been hurt. Keri, however, is a traumatized character, but interestingly not because of anything that she's particularly gone through in her life. So we have to ask ourselves, why is Keri so unhappy in the book? And I think the answer is because, as is revealed early on, Keri is an artist. And Keri's artistry is an expression of larger forces outside of herself, which as an artist she is able to absorb and express. So, might we assume that Keri is suggesting that the New Zealand Kiwi culture is in some way traumatized, struggling, or unhappy? I believe the answer to that is yes. All three of our characters, including the small child, drink often and far too much. The environment is often commented on as being in a supreme state of degradation, as is what spiritualism, which can be found within the environment, dug out, exposed and disembodied, you know. The Maori culture, the early inhabitants of this island, deeply spiritual and profound culture of connection with the landscape, is a practice that is barely hanging on to memory. But this book does a very good job of expressing, still within its final swan song, the beauty of the culture, as is expressed mostly through language, as well as the understanding of the fauna. So, these are our three characters, all three troubled, traumatized, but in the meeting of each other, they become deep friends. And it is their friendship and their bond which carries the story over these 500 or so pages, in which the big, most obvious theme is that of child abuse. This book pulls no punches in the exploration and the detailing of child abuse, but posits the question uncomfortably: is child abuse in any way ever excusable? The answer is uncomfortable because it's not certain. And that is a great thing about this book. The answer, you assume going in, if I was to ask you that question, surely you would say emphatically, no, child abuse is never excusable. Of course. But this book, by the end of its 500 pages, has you asking yourself these questions. Is the foster father, the abuser, in any way, do you forgive him? Do you wish that the child was in anybody else's care? The conclusions are uncomfortable. Not certain on either side, but it makes for a difficult read at points, but a good one. I'll say that the first third of the book, as it introduced these characters to me, I really enjoyed. The middle third became a lull, in my experience. So much of a lull that I had asked myself, does this book deserve the acclaim, the Booker Prize? Only for the last third to bring it back and have me saying that, it does deserve it. The last third had me gripped to the page. I read it in about a day. Not so bad. I couldn't put it down. I had a great time reading this book, and it was a fantastic introduction for me in the understanding of this place where I am now. Look, it's hard to imagine I'm talking about environmental degradation in a place like this, but I chose this place because I don't choose to spend most of my time around where the environment has been dug out, which I have seen. The Bone People, the Keri Hulme, 4 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend.